All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really intense, decade-spanning journey. We're going to track the 10 professional career stages of a day trader, broken down into 5 distinct eras of their life. This isn't just about moving money around on a screen. It's an incredible evolution from a total beginner in a college dorm room to an absolute Wall Street legend. We're going to look at the evolving focus on risk management, the brutal psychological challenges, and, maybe most importantly, the deeply personal trade-offs made at every single level. So, I want you to ask yourself, what is the true cost of becoming a Wall Street legend? Put yourself in this person's shoes for just a second. Imagine the dream of easy money, the sports cars, the total financial freedom. Sounds amazing, right? But what are the hidden sacrifices behind that dream? As we walk through these stages together, keep this in the back of your mind. If you actually knew the cost up front, would you still pay it?
Okay, starting off with Section 1, the illusion of easy money.
Picture this. You're 19 years old. You're living in a dorm room that kind of smells like instant noodles. It's 2 a.m., your roommate is dead asleep, but you are wide awake watching a video about a guy who just made $1,000 in one afternoon, smiling from the driver's seat of a very expensive sports car. And man, you want that. You want it more than anything. So you open your laptop, you take the $400 your grandmother put in a checking account for you, and you deposit it. Your hands are literally shaking and you don't even really know why. You buy a stock and you just watch the price tick green, then red, then green. The thrill is completely intoxicating. By the end of the week, maybe you've magically turned $600 into $800 and you think, I'm a genius. But you haven't actually figured out anything. You've just been lucking, and luck always runs out. Boom, you blow up the entire account in a single afternoon watching a stock that was supposed to go to the moon plummet instead. But you don't quit. Instead, you start really learning. You learn what a chart actually is. You realize it isn't just a bunch of random lines. It's a literal picture of human fear and greed. You start to understand that you aren't just gambling anymore. You are trying to read human psychology.
And this marks your transition into level 2, becoming a consistent retail trader. See, the naive expectation was always winning big with fast money and sports cars. But the harsh reality? Yeah, it's boring spreadsheets, hyper-focusing on risk management, and losing small. You stop paying attention to the flashy guys in sports cars and start listening to the boring guys talking about risk limits. You quickly realize the traders who actually survive in this game, they aren't the ones winning massive hands. They're the ones who lose small. Protecting the money you have matters way, way more than growing it.
Which brings us to Section 2, surviving the retail grind. By now, that initial adrenaline rush is long gone, totally replaced by the incredibly methodical, repetitive nature of building sheer discipline. You manage to scrape together a $1,000 account by the time you graduate. Look, it's not life-changing money, but it is solid proof that you can actually do this. So you reject the standard 9-to-5 office job. Your dad calls it gambling, doesn't speak to you for a month, but you push on anyway. To get your hands on real capital, you turn to prop firms. And you fail their challenges. Over and over and over again, agonizingly slowly, until finally, around age 25, something just clicks, and you officially become a funded, full-time professional.
So how do you get funded? Well, you have to pass these simulated challenges with ridiculously rigid rules. You pay a fee, you aim for a specific profit target, and crucially, absolutely crucially, you can never break the daily loss limits. By the third time you take the challenge, you stop trying to get rich and you just start following the rules. You literally walk away from the screen the second you feel your anger rising. You learn that discipline isn't just a part of the game, discipline is the entire game.
But here's the thing, that discipline comes at a really heavy psychological cost. There's an old trading adage that goes, the charts are easy, your own mind is the hard part, and it is spot on. Even as a funded trader, your income isn't steady. The stress literally never stops. Some mornings, the fear of losing last week's hard-earned profit completely paralyzes your hand on the mouse. It's right around this incredibly stressful period that you meet a woman named Sarah. You tell her you're a trader, and she's impressed. But you don't tell her about the nights you spend staring at the ceiling because you simply cannot sleep. 10. That is the number of hours a day you spend glued to a chair just staring at 3 monitors. You've got multiple funded accounts now. You are a full-time professional. But the work is so much lonelier than anyone ever warned you it would be. No boss, no office, no coworkers to grab lunch with. You miss seeing your friends because you absolutely refuse to take a normal Tuesday off. Because every day you don't trade is a day you don't earn. You just keep telling yourself this isolation is the price of freedom. Moving on to Section 3, climbing the institutional ladder.
Okay, so you've proven yourself in isolation, and now the big leagues come knocking.
A guy running a real proprietary trading firm in Chicago sees your numbers online and offers you a seat on his floor. You and Sarah pack up and move to Chicago. Boom. You're 32, walking onto this electric, absolutely brutal trading floor, and you are humbled immediately. You make stupid mistakes, but a seasoned veteran sitting next to you, a guy named Vince, takes you under his wing. You adapt, you grow, and by 33, right as you're made a senior trader, Sarah tells you she's pregnant. For the very first time in your career, the numbers on the screen feel kind of small.
The lessons you learn on that desk, they're absolutely foundational. Rule 1, size down until you stop being an idiot. Vince taught you that one. You learn that true veterans don't panic after a losing day. They just close the laptop and go home to their families. Calm is a skill, not a personality trait. It can be trained. And above all else, the goal is simply to survive long enough to get good. Soon enough, you start teaching these exact same rules to the terrified junior traders assigned to your desk. But success at this level demands a really brutal toll. You buy a gorgeous house in the suburbs, your son learns to walk in a beautiful living room completely paid for by your screens, but you are working so much that you actually miss his first steps. Instead, you're watching a video of them alone in your office after the closing bell, crying quietly to yourself. You promise to go home earlier tomorrow, but the market is open tomorrow. You never do. Next up, Section 4, the weight of billions. After 15 grueling years, you leave the firm to do the most terrifying thing you've ever done. You start your own hedge fund. You launch it with $12 million. And the pressure? It's a completely different beast now because you're holding other people's life savings. But your defining moment arrives at age 45. The market suddenly crashes 30%. Funds all around you are just vanishing overnight. But you don't. You hedged your bets carefully. You lose far, far less than the overall market, and when the dust finally settles, new investors just flood in. By 48, your fund triples in size, and you're managing a massive team. And then you hit this number, $2 billion. You are officially a titan now, a real Wall Street name. That 19-year-old kid who turned 400 into 800, he is long gone. You are now a weather system. When you decide to buy, the price rises simply because you are buying. You don't even read charts anymore. You read the people who are reading the charts. At this scale, the money has entirely stopped feeling real. You're just thinking in basis points and risk exposure. It's not even about the cash anymore. It's just about the score. It's about being right. But you know, that machine constantly needs feeding. As the old guys on Wall Street say, the market is a jealous thing. It wants all of you, and it usually wins. You promise yourself every single year that you'll be home for dinner more often, and you break that promise every single year. The reality of this massive trade-off becomes completely undeniable. At the absolute peak of your financial success, printing money, literally moving global markets, sitting there as a Wall Street titan, the personal toll is just devastating. Your hair is graying, your back constantly aches, you have to take medication just to fall asleep at night. And your 16-year-old son, he barely even speaks to you. You've spent his entire childhood staring at glowing screens, and you have absolutely no idea how to get those years back. Finally, we reach Section 5, the price of a legend. The daily fight is finally over. You're 60 years old, and you step back. You hand the day-to-day trading over to younger, hungrier men. By 62, you're a chairman, a figurehead, a genuine legend whose old trades are being studied by college kids at 2 a.m. Your fund manages tens of billions of dollars completely without you. Sarah stayed, incredibly, outlasting the market itself. And now you're sitting there holding your newborn grandson in a very quiet house, feeling that exact same crack in your chest you felt the day your own son was born. In those quiet hours, you start to wonder what it all really added up to. Sure, you made absolute fortunes, but you missed the school games. You worked through every single ordinary Tuesday. You sit with the brutal truth. No amount of capital, not a single cent of those billions of dollars, can buy even one of those days back. That is the trade nobody ever warns you about at the start line. The tragedy here, and it's a heavy one, is this. You absolutely could have taken those Tuesdays off. You never once did. The freedom you so desperately sought as a 19-year-old kid was always right there. It was always an option. But the addiction to the screens, the pure need to be in the fight, it just consumed it all. And so we are left with a pretty haunting reality. Because somewhere, right now, a 19-year-old is sitting in a dorm room at 2 a.m., he's watching a video of a guy who just made $1,000 in an afternoon.
He has $400 in his checking account. His hands are shaking as he hits deposit. He thinks this is going to make him free. He has absolutely no idea what it will really cost him or who he will have to become. The cycle just continues. So, looking back at everything we've unpacked in this explainer today, is it really worth the cost? Thank you so much for walking through this incredible journey with me.